We've been serving people through Wellbeing Teams since the beginning of January this year, and we've learnt such a lot about what works and what doesn't work. And I wanted to start a series of films to share some of my assumptions, particularly the assumptions that were wrong, so that I can do what I said I was going to do, which was share my learning, and so other people can learn from this hopefully too. So I want to start with the first assumption, which in some ways was the most painful one for me to realise it wasn't quite as I'd expected. Community Circles and Wellbeing Teams are sisters. I'm one of the co-founders of Community Circles. It's something I fundamentally and passionately believe in. So it felt really natural to me that we'd build in Community Circles and a Community Circle connector as part of our design of Wellbeing Teams. Because our purpose is to do whatever it takes to support people to live well and be part of their communities. And we saw the being part of your community as the role that the Community Circle connector would take. Now, I was challenged about this and said it was hubris and not very person-centred to be offering the same thing to everybody, but I certainly thought it was worth a go and defended that vigorously, and actually I was wrong. So the first Community Circle connector that we recruited spoke to the first 10 people that we were supporting and invited each of them to see if they wanted a Community Circle, and each of them said no. And I was heartbroken and I couldn't understand why this would be the case, and were we just not explaining it properly, what was going on. But what I realised is it's such a big leap to go from being isolated and lonely to being bold enough with support to invite a group of people around your kitchen table to change something that really matters to you. And what I realised is there probably need to be several steps in between that. And this echoes some of the learning about the charity Community Circles and their work in care homes and in extra care, and in Doncaster as well, exploring a range of ways of supporting people to feel connected and to have a more formal circle being one of the offers, but there being lots of other ways of connecting people through circles too. So this has led to our partnership with Circle, and you'll know by now that I'm a really big fan of Hilary Cotham's book Radical Help, and she introduces experiment number 5, which led to Circle, and I've spent a lot of time talking to Mark in the Rochdale Circle, the remaining circle, about how we can work in partnership. So the plan now is, what we're doing in Wellbeing Teams is we're finding out what matters to people, what can both be delivered through their outcomes and other ways that we could support them. That's led us to setting up things like men's group and knitting circles, and we're looking at gardening groups with the Nomad Rangers from Wigan and partnering with other organisations. We've invited local artists to come and work with us too. So a range of different ways for people to do more of what matters to them and connect with other people through shared interests. So that's been the first thing, the next step. And that we're hoping by building that up with the support of Circle that people will more naturally have a group of people around them who share the same interests. And that might lead us to then being able to have conversations that could lead to circles if there's something that people really do want to change about their lives. So absolutely still believe in it, still think it's the way forward, still very much part of Wellbeing Teams, but recognise there might be some steps before that to make it happen. So at the moment we've got 3 experiments going. So in Wigan we've got a wellbeing worker who's got a passion for community, and she does an extra day with us working as a Community Circle connector, building the relationships, building the opportunities to do things together in the community, starting to explore what Circle would look like. Kath from Community Circles is supporting us to do that. So we're absolutely making sure we're taking the learning from Community Circles as a national charity. In our team in Oxfordshire, we've got a full-time Community Circle who also supports the Wellbeing Teams and delivers support to people. She said that's been a really, really great move because it enables us to have different conversations with people and get to know people really well. And again, we're starting to do individual connections in our Oxfordshire team with Laura, and starting to look at what group connections could look like there as well. And in our new teams in Thurrock, we've built this into the role of one of the wellbeing leaders to see how that can work. So fundamentally, wellbeing teams are about people being part of their communities, building inclusive communities. There are lots and lots of ways of doing that. Community Circles is one. It's a really, really important one, but there may be lots of steps to get people there. And my assumption that everybody would want a circle right from the beginning was wrong, but we're trying lots of different ways to connect people, and we'll keep sharing what we're doing and learning.